All right, apologies in advance. It's not fun to start a video with an apology, but this is where we're at. Um, Very crammed for time this week. I wanted to create this newsletter marketing calendar template, but um, yeah, it ran out of time. But suffice to say, what it allows you to do is to create newsletters. So these are like templates for a newsletter. In this case, we're talking about a weekly member newsletter. Maybe there's a type here, like email or YouTube. Maybe it's not type, but it's like a channel. Okay, and so we create these template newsletters. And then what we do is create a publication for it. Okay, so this is like this version of the newsletter is going to go out on the 6th. Okay, from there, we can add content, so pieces of articles, whatever you're going to add into that newsletter, and then you can manage those pieces of content across uh, the kind of review stages here. Um, in this case, what we're able to do, if we click on see details, is draft within place. You can see people can add comments when we're ready. So we're reviewing now, everybody's reviewing, adding comments, blah, blah, blah. When we're ready to approve, let's add this to this newsletter. First of all, when you do that, when you add it to that newsletter, you can see that we're not quite there yet now on this newsletter, right? 66% complete because we've got 3 pieces of content, one in the reviewing stage. So that's nice to be able to see this sort of status of these newsletter publications. But then within the content itself, when we approve, it takes what is now something that we can edit, uh, possibly editing, adding, and I can add equal at glass puffin dot image, like add that in there. Um, Now once I approve, we've got this published view that can't be touched. Okay, so that sort of sets it in stone and it makes that publication look like it is ready to go, 100% complete. Okay, lots more we could do there. I mean, you can add content. You've got the authors here. Filter by author. Yeah, more that could be done, but this is the first sort of step, and build video will follow. So maybe there's some tricks in there that you can lift, appropriate, steal, and using your stuff. Okay, take care. See ya. All right, here we go. The build. Coda.new. So this is, we'll call it newsletter marketing calendar, I guess, for now, and put a little calendar icon on it. Okay. Newsletter marketing calendar. So what this thing needs to do is organize newsletters for our organization. Um, uh, Draft and assign content to newsletters, collaborate, let people collaborate in drafting content, and I want there to be like an image repository. All right, so we'll keep it at that. Not a lot of time today, so we're going to go through this as quickly as I can. So I need a table for newsletters. Okay, and maybe there's a specific name, but more likely we're we're going to use a date. Okay, and this is publication. I'll call it date of publication. So I always like to name things, date if it's a date first. It just makes it easier to find later. Date of publication is probably one of the most important things. So let's say this one is going to be uh, this Friday. And what am I going to do here? Right, I want to change this because I don't like that format to the whole shebang. Okay, so this is our weekly member newsletter. So here's something. We might want to do this actually now that I'm here. I'm going to copy this table if I can access it. Fuck off. Duplicate. So instead of date here, I'm going to call this one newsletter publication. I don't know. That's fine for now. And this one will actually be newsletters. Okay, so what I want to do is look up here to newsletters. All right, so now what we can do is have multiple newsletters, the name of it, and a description. Excuse me. And I'll make create a column on this one. Publications. Excuse me. Let's see. Let's actually make a, we'll say ID, uh, publication ID. And we're going to make this the display column. I'll just say, I'm going to make it a compose column just to make it easier. Compose. And it will be equals name dot name and at date of publication. Okay, great. So this one I'll call newsletter. All right, maybe we've got more than one newsletter. All right, so for now though, we'll say we've just got this one. Here it is. We send this out weekly to all people who have signed up for our member newsletter. Okay, and now we need a table for content. Right, it's like what's going to be in this newsletter. It's going to be pieces of content. Okay, so I also want to have a people table because I want to be able to identify authors. Let's see. I'll do people. I like to call this one coda person, and then I'll pull the name, and then for the, it's not going to let me do that. For this one, I'll just do first name, and I want to add a formula. And this will be name h dot split. We want to split that by the space, and then we want to take whatever comes out first. All right, so now I can pull this as name, and we're good. Okay, Now, under content, I call this title of the content. I want a people, db people, and we're going to call this author. Uh, authors, okay. Just in case there's more than one, I'll set that to look up. And then, okay, so what is some good content? This is, I want to talk about my DIY digital solutions for artists and non-profits. Okay, this is a, I'm going to put a description on here. This is a workshop that I'm delivering. Okay, don't need to say everything aloud, do I? So this is me. Okay, I'm the one doing this one. So I'm responsible for it. Okay, now we have content. I want some sort of select list kind of status. All right. Um, not started. I think I would call drafting. I'll call that blue. This one I'll call published. We'll make it green. I might delete that one and say reviewing. Oh, maybe another one for backlog. Okay, we can have a place to just store. Oh, does that make sense? I think drafting is green, reviewing is red, published is gray, and backlog is blue. Backlog goes at the start. That's the order. All right. Oh, and we want to assign probably backlog for new rows. All right. So now what that means is up here we can have a view of content and do a board. And authors across the top. That's interesting. Group by status across the top. I want to show empty groups and keep all of this stuff here. All right, I'm going to take bottom new card button off. And what columns do we want to see on here? We've got the title. I'll take the, there we go. All right, so now we've got this view of our content board. And what we want to do is maybe say, okay, backend, newsletter publication. So date of publication, I'm going to add a date here, and this date is going to be like finalized date. No, be like, what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say days before publication. Okay, this is like it must be ready. Newsletter must be finalized this many days before publication date. All right, so instead of a date, this would be a duration. And we'll say 1 day. Okay, we want to make sure that all our weekly member newsletters are finalized. Excuse me, a day before publication. Why did I do that? Well, let me recall. If I bring this, maybe I won't do that. So I'll say for this newsletter publication date, this should be a date where it has to be finalized. Uh, Finalization date. No, date to be finalized. Okay, and this will be equal to date of publication minus weekly. What's going on here? Where's my stuff? Minus newsletter dot days before publication. Okay, so now we know when this is supposed to be finalized on, based on every newsletter can have a different um, days before publication, so that's good. So back to this content. Okay, so we need a canvas column here for the actual content. Uh, yeah, I guess I'll call this content. I don't want to see it here, but I do want to see it in here, so that's good. Um, I was gonna add something to do with it being locked. I can't remember why that was, but the point was supposed to be, I think, go canvas again. The point of locking was supposed to be that you don't want people to be able to edit it once it's been published. All right, so it's like content approved, and this would be reviewing and published. So I think what we would do is put in a button here. So it's like once it's uh, done, this would say publish or like approve. Okay, and icon, let's see what they give us. A little check here, that's fine. Make it blue. And what this will do is run actions. We're going to modify rows. This row, we're going to take the status and make it published. And we're going to take content approved and port over the content. All right, so it's like you click it and anything that's in the content automatically gets moved over to content approved. So let's try that. Approve content. And if it's in the advanced, we want to say if it's already published, if the status, where'd it go? Disable if the status is published, right? Because now if it's already published, you can't approve the content. And actually, it should only be available when we're in reviewing stage. Maybe I won't make that. Disable if status is not reviewing. Right. Okay. We'll do that for now. So what can we do here? If I go down to activity, I can see I changed the status. We'll test this content thing. Hey, here's some content. And now if I approve it, yeah, it's published, the content's moved over, and I can see that the status was changed by a button. Okay, so I do have a good view of the history of this thing. Okay, so let's go back. We need to do more two more things here. We need to be able to add content to a newsletter. So this would be newsletter publication. Right? It's not the actual newsletter, it's the publication we're adding it to. Right, okay, so now I can say I want to add this to the weekly newsletter. That's great. And we'll turn this around, create a column on this side. And actually, maybe we need to make this a multi-select because maybe you're adding it to multiple publications. So now down here, you can see content associated with each. All right, so now up here on our newsletter marketing calendar, we've got, let's move this back over to drafting. Let's see. Organize newsletter. That's the content board. Now, is it the content that's drafting? I guess it is. And then the newsletter. Yeah. See, we could try to do this and say like newsletter. Oh, right. Newsletter content. And what if we had yeah, see, so what is this? Is this a content calendar or is it a newsletter calendar? And maybe it's both, and I still don't remember what I was going to do with that date to be finalized, but here we are. So one of the things that I was going to do, I may as well finish this off before I forget. And again, apologies that I'm a little bit distracted and all over the place today. I'm trying to rush this through, and maybe that's not a good idea. But yeah, I've got a couple of things coming up this week that I need to focus on. So what is this button going to do? This button is going to open row, this row. Yeah, okay. So we have two views of the content, right? I'm gonna actually make a DB content page because then I can take this and I can say uh, content published layout. All right, so now what I want to do is take this and yeah, first of all, edit the layout and say here's, put the label at the top for the title and the description. Status is there, and there's the content. And approve it. What button is that? Let's see, open row button. I don't want to see the newsletter, but I can put here's status drafting, and I'm gonna say what newsletter it's attached to. Actually, I put this first. So status and that, and there's the content, and then we can put approve and author up. Actually, put author here and move newsletter up, maybe. Authors, newsletter publication. Okay. Excuse me. Hey, here's some content, and then you approve it, and we'll get rid of that show hidden columns link, and this one is open. We'll say see details. Okay, that's what this thing looks like, right? So, oh, the other thing I wanted to do before I make this other layout of it is make a table for images. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple. There's going to be a name and then an image, okay, where you can upload an image. We'll call this, I think I've got something I can use here, glass puffin, right? And I'll add another one, felted ship. All right, so this is glass puffin, this is felted ship. Okay, we're going to use these somehow in our content. All right, so one other thing that I know that I'm going to need if I'm going to call these up within the content, to get it to display properly, I need, actually, I have to call this upload image upload, and then I'm going to make another text column called image. And for this, I'm going to say equals image upload dot first, because you can see what happens here, right? It's a, for whatever reason, because you can upload multiple images to a single cell here, you have to define first so that it can actually pull the image through properly, or else it doesn't. See what it looks like? It's this little tiny, tiny thing. But if we want to use it, then we want to pull it through first. Okay, so there's the image. Now what we can do is go up to content, and we're going to add images, image, image. How do I want to do? No, that's not it. Images, relation, images. That's it. Do I even want to bother doing that? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't even need to add that in here like this. But I will. Okay, so what you can do with images now is edit column. It's on multiple select. Glass puff and multi. Okay, so if I go to content approve, I'm going to add a layout and I'm going to add in the images. Right, I need to see them all. So to see them all, I'm going to say images. Okay, now I can see every one of them. I can hide, not here, but here. I'll hide image upload. Is that what I wanted to do? No, that's not what I want to do. I don't want it to look up. I want to be able to add as I see fit. Okay, so now it's like, well, glass puffin I think is going to be relevant for this content, right? Or I can add new, and of course now I can't access, so maybe I need to bring that um, back. But if I add an image here, if I bring in this business and arts logo, then now let's say it B and A logo. Now, what that lets me do is within, here's some content, I can say equals at glasspuffin.image. And now I've got that content available. All right, um, within this thing, right? So that's cool. And I think, yeah, it won't let me add a caption here the same as it's dragging in, but you can put that caption down here if we want. So if I've got this far, what else do I need to do? Approved. Okay, so now for this published layout, I'm going to use the same layout at first, but then I want to edit it. I want to, let's just call this content drafting layout. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate the layout and call this content publishing or published layout. Go done, and now I'm going to close this and open this again and say that's content published layout, and that is content drafting layout. Great. Now, what I can do, I want to edit the content published layout so that the content, instead of being, so I won't need to see images, I won't need to see content. What I need to see is content approved. Uh, call this content drafting. That can be content approved, but then I need one more content. And this one will be canvas. And I'll make it formula to look up to content approved. All right, so what that does is let us now we can't touch this. All right, so it's been published. It means we can't edit that content anymore. Okay, so now what we need to do, and I'm going to we're getting a little bit of a sticky situation because if you click on here, you're going to go to whatever view is set for the content board, and so it's like I have to choose one of those. All right, so one thing I could do here, and it's a bit of a content published layout. Sorry, why that's a bad thing? Did that go? It didn't go. Connect to view. Oh. Why that's a bad thing is that I can no longer protect it from here, right? It's going to be one or the other. It doesn't make any sense if it's published. Content published. Which one did I change? Edit layout. I think I changed the wrong one. Content published layout. Remove the images. Remove content drafting and put content in. All right, done. Pick a different layout. Content drafting. Did I? Yeah, I did. Man, this is why I need somebody looking over my shoulder when I'm doing this kind of thing. Okay, and I'll take content off and we'll put the images back on the bottom. All right. Does that jive with what's back here? DB content. Yeah, drafting. Okay. So one thing we can do is have let's see, this view, we can say there's the content, there's the description, newsletter publication, and we'll just say see details. We'll take off the content, the approve, the images, and just have see details. Okay, this will be content main layout. Oh, what did I just change now? Okay. I'm really not thinking today. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to call this content main layout. And I want that on content main layout. Content main layout. But now I have to go back because I changed that one again. Go back here, back to content drafting layout, edit this layout. Details, I have to do content approved. No, content drafting and images. And approve content. All right. Okay, done. Great. So now the board, I want to change the layout to content main layout. So now when you click on this, you can see some of the details, but you can't do anything. You have to click this see details button. And then we're going to edit this formula to say open row, this row, and it'll be, let's see, if status equals published, open row, this row, viewer layout is content published layout. Otherwise, open row, this row, content content. I guess unfortunately it's DB content, right? Okay, so now it's drafting. So when I open the details, then I'm in content drafting. If, however, I'm in reviewing, I can now see details same, but approve is up. If I approve it, let's see. I'm going to undo that and say if I edit layout, approve, Run actions, modify rows. Then I also want to open row, this row, content, publish layout. All right, so now when I approve content, I get taken to this new view. Why is content publish layout still content drafting? Okay, DB content. Content published layout. This should be easy, right? Content published layout. Edit the layout. It's content drafting layout. Pick a different layout. Content publishing layout. Published layout. All right. Okay. Let's go back. We're in reviewing. We open this up. We can't see the content. You click on see details. Content drafting is here. Here's some content. If we approve it, we're taken to the published layout where we see the content. We can't touch it. It's published. It's published. Right? Great. Now, on the back end, what we might want to see is the newsletter publication itself. Say, what's the count? Count selected. So we call this content count. And then we can duplicate this, duplicate with calculation. This is content published. And we want to edit this to say it's the content where status equals published dot count. And then we can put in a percentage column. And we'll say percent complete. And we'll call, say, content published over content count 100%. Then go back over here and we're going to look at our newsletters, newsletter publications, and let me make this a calendar, weekly member newsletter, calendar display. Okay. And then what we can do is conditional format this, add a rule so that based on percent complete and voila. Zero, one. All right, okay. Okay, so now we can see that that one is ready. But if we add new content in, we're going to call this talking about content, and we're going to put it to the same newsletter. Okay, I'll be the author. If we see the details, it's fine. So now if we go down, this is no longer looking so good because, and I should Right now we've got two, we're only 50% complete. I mean, we could change that if we wanted, make it a little more granular based on like if the content's in reviewing, then it's if this content status is reviewing, then maybe that's further along or something. Um, but I'm not going to go there at the moment. So the only thing we want to see is we'll say newsletter calendar, and I will create a view for this. Create new, call it um, newsletter publication main layout. And I can probably get rid of that, say newsletter. I'll put those two up top, make them larger. Let's see, here's the content. We could say percent date to be finalized and percent complete. And then I can remove right. Content count, content published. I think I was going to try to make this look like a newsletter. I mean, that's pretty difficult, but you could definitely hack it together. For the moment, though, what I want to do is make this view a little nicer. Text, um, columns. I want to see details. I don't really care about the author or the description. Maybe I care about the author. And we want to group. Column button, grid lines. Get rid of the row counts. And now let me just see what happens here. So if I say see detail, I move this to reviewing and then I approve it. Oh, there was no content. Reviewing. Let's go back. Content drafting. Let's say, hey, here's a felted ship at no equals at felted ship dot image. Okay, now I'll approve it. Oh boy, just for the sake of it, add the felted ship in there. Approve. Okay, so that's that. Now if I go back, can I move these? Talking about content. I can. Okay, that's cool, because that means that what I can do down here on newsletter content is try to say, add a formula. We'll say, actually, I wonder if this would be better off as a compose column, DB content backend. newsletter content. If I make this compose, no, I don't think so. It's not going to help. Equals content dot for each. I'm going to say bold, concatenate bold, current value, which is saying whatever piece of content we're talking about, dot title, then we'll say line break, we'll say by at no current value dot author dot name no dot full dot name by Andy Farnsworth, line break. Then we'll make a line break. Then we'll put the content current value dot content approved, line break. Then we'll do a rectangle of 2002, and what color do I use? Black if omitted. Alternative text of the image. Okay, so I'll just leave that out. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, so that doesn't work. Glasspuffin.jpg. It doesn't bring in the rectangles, it doesn't bring in anything. Okay, so we're going to take out this sense of there being some newsletter content because I don't have time to make that work right now. But from this view, what we can see is the content that we're going to put into the newsletter, and we can see that we're complete. And then to collaborate, I mean, boy, when it's in reviewing, you can just, oh, it's not in reviewing. New test. When you're reviewing, you can always just collaborate. Reviewing. Okay, so that's there, and I can see the comments. Right. What's interesting is the comment does not appear down below. It actually appears right on the content, but Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna dump it there, I think. We'll see if that's of value. I think it's probably something I could come back to another time to maybe add some more, but it's something, right? Okay. I'm out. Bye.